Alrighty, we did want to, come out today, and there was a lot of guys fighting, whether it's to make our 53-man roster or, possible practice squad consideration. Today was a lot of guys playing a lot of snaps that, quite honestly, I just have so much respect for the grit and kind of the effort that we played with today. Would have loved to win the football game today. Got off to a really good start there. Started making some substitutions and, just didn't have the cleanest execution late in the game to try to go, win that thing. Had one shot at a field goal, would have liked to give G one more, but just couldn't manufacture a lot there on that last drive, backed up. But wanted to give you guys an update. Thayer Thomas did, go into the concussion protocol on that punt return, kind of a secondary thing after the muffed catch, and he just took a helmet-to-helmet. There were a couple guys, 3 or 4 guys today that we hoped to try to get in the football game, but just couldn't quite get there from an injury standpoint. That would be Jawan Williams, Asezi, Najee, and Bo Plan were the 4 guys that really were right up against it, and then, just wanted to be smart with them, knowing that, as much as we would love to see them out there, wanted to make sure that we were taking care of those guys from a health standpoint, not asking them to do too much, being banged up like they were. But all of them tried like crazy to make it. And now we've transitioned to really the toughest part of this job is the next 72 hours or so for me, just not only from personal experience of being on the other end of those conversations, but just the way training camp's gone, from the work against each other to the joint practices. A lot of guys have really laid it on the line and done everything that they could to become Minnesota Vikings, but we've got a very competitive roster. Feel really good about our depth, and a lot of young guys have really shown well in different areas that will give us a lot to think about. So we'll start that process here, tomorrow with the coaching staff and personnel, and then as we roll through early part of the week, getting down to the 53-man roster and trying to get our 16-man practice squad set.
What did you learn about Jaren Hall?
Yeah, the plan was to try to get Jordan at least some series at the end there, but I just thought there was situationally such good work there that he can get. But across the board, I thought started really sharp with that first group and that first drive. Got some runs off, some keepers, and different things to kind of get him in a rhythm. And then we get the sudden change touchdown where he throws it to Abram, and I just thought the start of the football game was really indicative of where his preparation was. And then it's going to get hard anytime you start the substitution processes and guys are maybe in there that haven't been in there or haven't been with certain combinations up front or skill guys, whatever it is. But things that stuck out to me, his athletic ability, really, and how he applied it. There's been some times in the first couple preseason games where I thought, he got through a progression, the pocket's collapsing, you can go steal us a first down or two, and he did that today. Thought he even could have, even on that last 4th down play, maybe just taken off and gotten us a first down, and then who knows where we go from there. So it's just finding out so many guys, you have to coach that out of them, but he's a guy that we don't want to coach that out of him, but it's all about the application of that as part of his skill set, because I thought he threw the ball really well today, efficient in and out of the huddle with the operation all the way really down to the the end of the game. So might not show up stat sheet wise, but I thought it was a real positive day for Jaren, and would have loved, like I said, for him to lead us to another field goal op to try to win that football game.
Is he a guy that you want to keep around ideally and continue to develop?
Yeah, I would definitely like to keep him around, and I think my philosophy when you're going to draft a quarterback, I think you pour into him on a daily basis. Development is a huge word, but I love the fact that we got him as many reps as we did this camp. Not only just in the preseason games, but Chris and Grant did a good job working them in when they could, even with the second offense throughout the early part of camp. We did a lot of developmental periods, 3s-on-3s, kind of throughout training camp. So I feel like Jaren, has a really, really good understanding of our offense, where he can grow, where his comfort level can grow, and hopefully hit the ground running the next opportunity that he gets.
You mentioned the situational 2-minute at the end of the first half. trailing at the end of the game. Just how important are those situations to put him in, regardless of how it turns out?
Yeah, really, when you think about those down the line guys, that the hardest thing to do is get them the situational work, you could really try to manufacture it in practice, but that's normally for your ones and twos, especially how we handle the preseason game. So that's one of the reasons why, Jordan, I felt like Jordan came in and has done a really good job and wanted to get him on the field to at least get him some work, but those opportunities are so few and far between for Jaren and really a lot of the guys in that huddle that I just wanted to make sure, A, we weren't asking too much of Jaren with some of the no-huddle aspects of that, of Jordan, and B, it was a great time to really have some teachable moments for Jaren moving forward. Kind of figure out, you guys know who's who.
Kevin, how much have you seen Jay Ward progress over the course of camp?
Yeah.
What have you seen?
Yeah, I think what shows up every time we play these games is kind of a culmination of what we've seen on the practice field. I think we've got one of the better safety rooms in the National Football League, so, and that's, our starters, that's, these guys that have really made up the versatility for Flo to be able to play 3-4 safeties in a grouping. We've got Lou, we've got Metellus to go along with Bynum and Harry, and now, Theo Jackson and Jay Ward. Probably if you were ranking training camps that guys have had, those two guys would be, on the top tier of some of those rankings just because of the production. Because when you're building things for 2 or 3 safeties in the first group, you end up doing the same thing for the second group, and those guys have capitalized on that. So really happy with where Jay's at. He's physicality, his ability to see it and go pull the trigger and try to make a play. He almost came out of the post to pick a ball off. If it wouldn't have been high, he probably would have taken that one back the other way. And he's been making plays like that, showing instincts. And then the best thing has just been some of the physicality that we've seen from him, not only on defense but on team. So really happy with that whole safety group. And we've got 6 of them, and we're going to have some really hard conversations that may or may not involve keeping all 6 of them because of that's how strong we think that room is.
Kevin, just from a big picture standpoint, now the preseason over, how do you feel about the group that you're going to start week 1 with? I know you got to make some roster cuts.
Yeah.
Top of the line guys and the work that you saw from them, even if they didn't get a whole lot of time in the game.
Yeah, I think that's where the joint practices are so critical, to get all 4 in when, it had kind of become a thing around the league to either cancel the second day or, maybe cancel the whole week of them based upon circumstances that, other teams view that that's best for them. Those are so critical for us. We have such an unbelievable facility to host another team here. I feel like that for the first groups on both sides, offense and defense, they could not be more prepared based upon our philosophy of getting guys ready. We got a little help from that 97 degrees last Wednesday just to truly, force some of our guys to dig deep and work through that. It was a grind of a day. It was probably the most reps they've had all training camp, and it happened to be the hottest day of training camp. So secretly, I was enjoying that quite a bit. And then we came back and had one of our better days overall on Thursday in the joint work, which I thought was really big for our team. In both weeks, I felt like different challenges, different types of groups on the other side, but I felt our team grow. Whether it was that Friday walkthrough after the joint practices, and you can just feel it in the huddle when you call the team up and talk to them, and then talking to a lot of our veteran guys, they feel very happy about where they're at, and they know exactly kind of what it looks like here the next 15 days or so before we're right back here, trying to win our home opener.
Kevin, what are your thoughts on, like Sheldon, Ross, those backup defensive?
Yeah.
Your decisions you have to make there.
Yeah, it's going to be tough because, if we carry some extra numbers at some different spots, we can be really versatile with our front and our back end to play more guys in certain positions, different groupings. So we're going to have to be, razor sharp in our evals of where those guys are and what they've done. Thought every single, those 2 names, Sheldon and Ross, both kind of showed up today at different points, run game, pass game. The outside backer discussion is going to be very, very interesting just because of just our guys, our personnel department did a great job of bringing in Luigi last year. We drafted Assezi, who I would have loved to see get a chance to play today. And then you've got Andre, you've got Benton. So you're legitimate guys that we want to try to find a way to still keep coaching and still watch them ascend and grow and develop. So we've got some real tough decisions, really on that front defensively. But the versatility of our scheme allows us to maybe try to keep the best possible 53 guys we can, and 16 guys on the practice squad that may get called up week in and week out. And that's one of the things you like about that versatile scheme is you can really fit it to your best 53.
Last few questions. Hey, Kevin, how about Jake Gervais just coming in
Yeah.
weeks ago and playing every snap?
Yeah, he's when we were in a pinch there and knew more than likely we didn't want to, Lewis is working his way back. I expect Lewis to be in a good spot here moving forward, but you get within 48 hours of the game and you've had a month-long training camp and you're still adding somebody that's going to play darn near the whole game. There's a select few, and Jake is definitely one of those guys. Having experience with him from the past in LA, came out and just, really learned every single call. Didn't get a ton of full speed work in Thursday's practice, and then he's out there playing a whole game. So give him a ton of credit, but that's who Jake Gervais is, and glad he was willing to come be a part of it, and I know he had a blast out there today.
Kevin, was it hard to keep Brian Flores defense, for him to be vanilla all preseason?
Yeah.
All in these games?
Yeah, you know what, Alec, it's one of those things where I find myself calling for things, now, and the response even today was, "Are you sure you want to show that?" And I did want to win the football game today, so there was maybe a little bit more in there on some of those situational downs. But as everybody knows, to every single one of those calls, there's an equal and an equal counterpunch to those calls. So I don't really mind showing some things. I do think our opponents probably have some things left to their imagination, which is a good thing. But it's one of those things where it's probably he's more patient than I am, knowing certain situations in the game. And Wes was calling it today, and so that allowed me to float around the headsets. I'm sure everybody's probably ready for me to get back to calling plays, so I stay out of everybody's business.
So did Wes call the entire game?
He did.
And then defensively?
I believe it was Durante Jones and Mike Saravo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you guys.